So I'm talking to you today about the MSc Leadership and Development and MSc Security, Leadership and Society, two very unique programs run by King's College London. They look at the mutually reinforcing links between leadership and peace, security and development issues across the developing world. They are open to students from across the world, interrogating issues across all regions of the global south. We know that security and development are mutually connected. Both are prerequisites for peace and prosperity. The security development nexus highlights how the political and economic environment in the developing world is a root cause of insecurity and underdevelopment encountered. However, we recognize and discuss these issues in relation to the underpinning leadership issues that interlink with the security development nexus. No other program in the UK, and I would even say in the world, is looking at these issues in relation to leadership processes and leadership frameworks in the way we're doing. I'm Dr. Barney Walsh. I'm a lecturer in security, leadership and development and teach on both of these programs, and I'm taking you through the webinar today. We place great value on effective and transformational leadership for societal change. We analyze and interrogate leadership issues in developing societies, whilst giving students the tools, concepts, and frameworks of analysis needed for you to become future leaders capable of enacting transformative change in your societies and globally. We want students to enjoy the course and get qualifications, of course, but really we want to produce students who will become transformational leaders and change makers in their societies after their MSc programs. We really care about giving students the skills they need to make an impact in their lives and communities. We emphasize the importance of the personal transformation you will experience on the programs, leading to societal transformation. We aim to produce a global community of future leaders to transform their local context, societies, regions, and the world. The course teaches on a variety of disciplines: history, literature, international relations, peace and security, development studies, politics, economics, geography, and so forth. Leadership is inherently multidisciplinary, and the teaching and the kind of students we get on the program do reflect that. This also leads to a variety of interesting career paths, which I'll mention again a bit later. So the MSc Leadership and Development focuses on the issues that engage leadership as a central factor in the dynamics of development. It engages various manifestations of leadership, such as that of key individuals and that of institutions such as the state and key international development organizations and networks. The program undertakes a detailed study of the various developmental paradigms using the lens of leadership within developing societies, with references to emerging economies and the developed world also. The program also engages area studies as it cross-references various developing regions, including Africa, Asia, and Latin America. You will do leadership and society in the dissertation module, which I'll talk more in detail of. And then the core modules for this program are emerging powers in global leadership. So countries like the BRICS countries and other emerging economies and their role in global development processes, and the state and development in Africa and Asia, which compares African and Asian development challenges and experiences in relation to development. The MSc Security, Leadership and Society looks at the mutually reinforcing links between security, leadership and society, especially within developing nations at various national, regional and continental strata. It examines the nature of societal leadership and its impact on security within and across developing countries and regions. The program explores several thematic issues, including the complexity of leadership, conflict, human security and societal space in leadership, leadership in socioeconomic transitions historically and in recent times, and the impact of global leadership on security and development in developing societies. Again, you'll do leadership and society in the dissertation, and then also core modules of natural resource governance, which looks at the nature and challenges associated with governance and natural resources, and the governance of security, which is really about the different levels of governance processes locally and globally and the different actors involved. in governance. And then optional modules, you take a total of 40 credits. Optional modules, here I've just listed some that are available at the African Leadership Centre where the programs are held, but also within other institutes within the School of Global Affairs. These optional modules are just examples here. You will be welcome to take various optional modules from across the School of Global Affairs and even elsewhere at King's when you run these programs. So a bit more detail on the core module, which is Leadership and Society, which is the module that everyone does and that links both programs. This module looks beyond the popular perspectives of leadership and offers students a consistent way in which to observe and analyze leadership experiences. It draws theoretical and practical lessons from published works, as well as from the experience of select leaders from across sectors and several regions of the world. You can expect to realize personal transformation in terms of how you define leadership and how you interrogate the practice of leadership on this module. This means a transformation in your ideas of what leadership is and in your perspective to problem solving at the personal level, professional level, and ultimately at a global level. This personal transformation, meaning the change in your own ideas and perspectives, increases your capacity to transform the world around you. And the module and program really tries to challenge some of the kind of well-held common myths about leadership. I won't go into detail on all of these now, but I encourage you to look through some of these common myths and understand that this program and the core module really tries to challenge some of these myths. It's hard to come up with a single definition of leadership. It's a complex phenomenon, but Keith Grint offers 4 perspectives or approaches to leadership, which we see in the literature and in practical spaces. The person-based perspective is the idea that individual traits are most important. Someone is elegant, good-looking, charismatic, etc., and therefore is able to become a leader. But that ignores the fact that actually that individual might not be effective in different environments, in different situations. They won't always be a leader. The person-based perspective is, if I'm CEO, principal, head of state, the boss, then surely I am a leader and therefore exercising leadership. But what then happens when you are no longer in that position? Will you still be a leader? Do you still have influence? What's your relevance after you leave that position? Results-based perspective. So, leaders need to get things done. And if results have been achieved, then surely leadership took place. But clearly this ignores the means and methods around which those results were achieved, which may be important. The process-based approach, which we advocate, is this perspective sees the means and methods as crucially important. It sees leadership as a sociological, interactive relationship between leader and follower. The nature of that relationship between leader and follower becomes the crux of the analysis, and we really unpack and interrogate the nature of that relationship with the situation and context and particular problem that needs to be solved as the starting point, not as the individual. The module and the whole program actually uses a variety of guest lecturers. We have Fumi Olonishakin, who is the Vice Principal International at King's and a key part of this program. We've also had the former president of East Timor and Nigeria, former Prime Minister of Australia. We had the CEO of Newsweek come this year and do a session on leadership in media. We have special UN representatives. These are just some examples. We have other guest speakers from the not-for-profit sector, entrepreneur business people, leaders in higher education institutions. So we really invite people from a variety of different sectors to speak to students. We use innovative and teaching and assessment methods. So we've started having leadership workshops, leadership weekends and day workshops where we get students out of the classroom, get them interacting in a different environment, doing role play scenarios, lots of group work outside of the traditional lecture hall. And likewise with our assessments, yes, you will do some essays, but also you'll do more interesting or non-traditional assessments such as video presentations, posters, writing policy briefs and so forth. So assessments that are more relevant to your career trajectory. A dissertation everyone will do. So this is the 60 credits. So actually 1/3 of the program is about doing your dissertation. This is your in-depth individual research project on a leadership issue of your choice. And we'll give you the tools and analytical framework to make sure you do that leadership analysis of particular issues, as well as giving you general training in research methodologies and framing of research questions. Here are just some examples of some previous research topics and titles. This is no way a definitive list, but just to show you the variation in the topics we give. People who write good dissertations will get the opportunity to turn those papers into published journal articles in the Journal of Leadership and Developing Societies. We also have the ALC Radio and ALC Data Lab, which you have access to, and I'd encourage you to check you out. But people write on various topics. I list some here, but we've also had dissertations on literature and leadership, abandoned children in India, leadership in China and the anti-corruption campaign there, skateboarding amongst at-risk youth in Nairobi, mental health interventions in the developing world, promotion strategies of university lecturers, the Rwandan genocide. Various case studies and interesting topics have been chosen. I won't go through the list in detail here, but just to reiterate, we have attracted students from all over the world. Literally, we've had students from every single region of the world, and also from a variety of different disciplines. People do various bachelor's degrees, or they've had varied work experiences. It's really a very diverse classroom. That's also reflected in the kind of careers people have afterwards. I've listed some here: academic institutions, private sector enterprises, NGOs, government and public sectors, institutions, regional and national organizations. There's also people I know who've gone on to do marketing, working in the banking sector, various different places. Here are some testimonials of our alumni, which you're welcome to read. Really, I want to emphasize that we focus on this transformation of students. This is a different kind of program. We attract and develop different kinds of students. It's not your typical master's program. And we have a unique teaching style and content, which you will not find in other places. Final slide is just to give you some contact points and location. These masters are housed within the African Leadership Center, which is a global community of scholars looking at issues of peace, leadership and development and security across the world. We're within the School of Global Affairs at King's College London, and here are just some websites I'd encourage you to look at and contact points for anyone who is interested. Many thanks.